Welcome to Get It Straight from the Source with your host, Patti and Toranat. Patti is intuitive and will utilize her gift of clairaudience to help you by bridging to the universal truth. Her soul coaching method can help you live an authentic and joyful life. So now, please welcome the host of Get It Straight from the Source, Patti and Toranat.
Welcome to Get It Straight from the Source. We are live from the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I'm your host, Patti Toranat from Bethesda, Maryland. Today, we have Iris White as our guest, and we will be talking about how she finally got rid of her bad hip pain, which she had been dealing with it for so many years, and at the same time, she took charge of her life in the way which she was not able to do it before until she had her QHHT session. So hi, Iris. Welcome, and thank you so much for being a guest on our show today. How are you doing, Iris?
Hi, Patti. Thank you for having me. I'm doing very well, actually. And I'm very excited to talk about my most magical experience.
Iris, please tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I came to this country from Germany in 1990 together with my husband. Actually, my husband is American, just to clarify. And we have two wonderful sons. They are now 21 and 25, and we live in Arlington, Virginia. My background is interior design and in art, but life led me to the world of fashion a few years ago. And also, I have always been curious about what this is all about. I've read The Power of Now and A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, among a lot of other books I've been reading. And when I came across the Dolores Cannon, it had quite an effect on my life.
Thank you so much, Iris. So how did you come across her work with her Dolores Cannon's quantum healing hypnosis technique?
Well, I came across it on the internet many years ago, and when I did, I was intrigued, but I didn't really give it my full attention because I wasn't ready yet at that time. And a few years later, when I came across it again, I couldn't get enough of it. I was hooked. And actually, at that time, when I came across her again, I suffered from really bad hip pain on my right side. And I had learned from Dolores that this means that I need to take a step into the right direction, but subconsciously refused to do so. So it was really an intense curiosity and also desperation to consider QHHT. I had explored other options in traditional medicine, and those did not really appeal to me. Among them were the options of cortisone shots. Then there was expensive plasma shots, and the doctor told me I could have a hip replacement done.
Whoa, that's a biggie. So I'm glad that you made the different move and tried the quantum healing instead, Iris. Dolores' work was so well known all over the world, and even more known right now after she departed from Earth 4 years ago. Her legacy is so well received by many people, and those are the one who they are open to this kind of healing. People do resonate with her message, and they acknowledge her authenticity of what she had to offer, whether that would be in books, lectures, teachings, interviews, and everything else that she did. She was really a real deal, and so well loved and well respected by people from all over the world. And I too, Iris, I couldn't get enough of her either. After I found her through the internet too, many years ago, I believe it or not, I attended her same lectures twice. And that lecture was about her new book that came out that year, 2011. The book was named Three Waves of the Volunteers and the New Earth. I attended both lectures, one in Front Royal in Virginia, and right after that I went to another one in Andover, Massachusetts. I just couldn't get enough of her, I tell you. And I knew right away that I had to take her classes because I totally resonated with her teaching and her story, and the rest was just history. I have been very dedicated to do her work, and I put my all into this. And I really appreciate the privilege of having the opportunity to receive the intensive training at the personal level from her. She had a pure intention to train her selected few people so she could launch a new program that she called, at that time she called it Recommended Dedicated Practitioner. She was so dedicated to teach us and to launch this new program. Her intention was to personally train some of her selected practitioners so we can carry on her work the way she intended to be. And there were 6 of us. And we only had to get ourselves there for those 3 days of intense learning from her. She did not request for a fee, and not only that, instead, she paid for our hotel rooms and our meals. I always have this heartfelt gratitude feeling to her and her family every time I talk or think about this. Very powerful feeling, just like, what a dedicated teacher. And, this is such a rare and genuine gift, that a teacher would give to any students. So thank you for bringing this precious memory back to me, Iris. And I promise myself that I will always give my all, carry on her teaching, and I will honor her wish to help humanity with this work, especially since she passed on the same year after she launched this program. And this program, when I became a part of it, it was in 2014. It was January 1st of 2014, and she passed on October 18 the same year. So I became even more dedicated to her work, and I wish to carry on her legacy as best as I'm able to. Iris, she was the light to the world, and still is. She's still shining her light from the other side of the veil. She came through our sessions every once in a while for a chat too. She said that during that chat, she said that she doesn't have her aging body to limit her anymore. She can be anywhere at any time. Just call her in and she will be there. So I always call her in before I start doing my session. And one time she dropped by and she surprised me. One time during the conversation I was having with the client's higher self, and I also call the higher self source. I'm going to use the word source, it's easier sometimes. And source said, Dolores is here. She wants to give you a hug because she knows you love hug. She wants to let you know that you have been doing very well. Just keep it up. Do not change and just be yourself. And she also gave me some personal advice that blew my mind afterward. It was just so amazing. And I can talk about her all day long. I just love her so much. So Iris, I thank you so much for bringing forward this another precious moment about Dolores. I feel so blessed right now. So Iris, how did you hear about me, though?
Yeah. Well, when I started looking for a practitioner near me, I found you on the official website. And then I saw you standing next to Dolores, and having listened to her so much, I just love that you have such a connection with her. And I was ecstatic that you were handpicked by her. And then after I had found you, I still debated if I should contact you. But then, I was thinking maybe this doesn't work for me, but I threw that thought out and I finally gave you a call.
It is time to take a short break. So welcome back to Get It Straight from the Source. We are live on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I'm your host, Patti and Toranat. Before the break, Iris and I were talking about Iris wanted to have a session, but still debated. And finally, she made that call. So what happened? You want to tell our listeners what happened after you made that call?
Yes, Patti. So when I finally made that call and then I've met you, I realized how dedicated you are to this work and that it is a true calling and that you were giving all of yourself to this cause. I felt very comfortable with you because I felt there wasn't any judgment. And instead, I felt your loving presence and you have tremendous strength about yourself. And there is a lightheartedness at the same time and always a smile on your face.
Thank you kindly, Iris. Yes, I'm most passionate to do this work, and it brings me so much joy to witness positive changes in people. And I'm very proud to represent Dolores in every minute that I do her work. You can see the joy in my face, and I thank you. Thank you for recognizing that. So, Iris, I'm glad that we get to meet for our session at that time. What was your main reason that for you to seek for help from the QHHT, though?
For the last 10 months prior to my session, I've had that throbbing pain in my head, mostly at night when my body was calming down. Every night before laying down, I would use a homeopathic cooling spray to get some relief. And also if I woke up in the middle of the night, I would reapply to soothe that pain. And I wanted an answer to why I was dealing with this and to be cured from this pain. About 6 years ago, when the pain was still mild, I saw a pain specialist, and he told me that the diagnosis was osteoarthritis. And I remember him saying, "I'm sorry." I actually started to tear up, not because of the diagnosis, but because of that comment. He seemed to count on my vulnerability. Right after he said that he recommends plasma shots. I don't want to say that those don't help, but, he said that I needed at least 5 of these shots, and one was $1,200. So, of course, insurance wasn't going to cover this. Instead, I found a homeopathic doctor who treated me with oxygen shots once in a while, and I had frequent acupuncture sessions. So when I came across Dolores Cannon a second time, I learned about the healing that can occur during a healing hypnosis session. In her videos, Dolores talked about, obviously you can still access the videos, she talks about how we are responsible for every ailment in our body and that the body has the ability to heal itself. I wanted to know about this and I wanted to heal myself.
Awesome choice, Iris. So what kind of experience did you have during the QHHT session? Would you mind share your experience with our listeners?
Yes. So after we spoke for many hours during our interview, we started the session and I felt completely alert. Patti, you told me that I can still get the answers I needed and it is just as effective as if I was in a deep trance. So I went with it when you asked me to quickly tell the first image that comes to mind. And only once I listened to other, so I didn't see myself, I don't think, in a lot of past lives. And the one life that I saw almost seemed more like a metaphor to me. It was a dreamlike scene, and it came out of nowhere. I was on a different planet, and I walked lightly. I was very thin and almost weightless. I was bouncing over a red and blue surface. Those were lines of water and fire that ran together over the entire surface of the planet. I was exploring the area with intense curiosity. I saw a bit of fire on my shoes, which extinguished before it burned through my leather soles, and I experienced no pain.
Fascinating, right? So what clarification did the higher self give you about that? Because there was a reason why the higher self picked that scene to show you.
Yes, the answer from my higher self was that I do not need to be afraid of anything. Nothing can hurt or harm me. It was shown to me in that scene when the fire didn't make my feet hurt. And it meant in general, I can walk through life on every step of the way. I'm okay. There's no reason to fear anything. I was simply inquisitive about my surroundings. I never questioned myself. And I wasn't worried about anything I might encounter or how I was supposed to leave this place again. I was not thinking, just observing. I remember that very clearly.
That's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing your precious information with us. And what else was shown to you, Iris?
Yeah, the next one I think was a key place or vision that I've had. I was in my room that I lived in as a child, maybe 4 or 5 years old, and it was my birthday. And I was happy about the attention from my parents and the gifts, but I had no inclination to participate in a party that had been arranged for me. I was very unhappy until all...
Yeah, sorry, we're going to hold that thought for right now because we need to take another short break. This is so quick. Can't believe that the second break is coming to us right now. So we will come back and hear more about this wonderful experience that you want to share with our listener. You are listening to Get It Straight from the Source with Patti and Taranat on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. This is your host, Patti and Taranat. You are listening to Get It Straight from the Source on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Iris and I were talking about her birthday that she did not want to participate. And so you want to continue with that story, Iris?
Yes. So, again, I was just glad when everybody was gone and my mother didn't approve of my behavior. And she couldn't understand that I just felt overwhelmed by so many people around me. So I always got labeled by her as the difficult child. And I feel we've had misunderstandings for many years. I also know that this is the root cause for the heaviness I have been feeling. And also the need to please. But also at the same time, being unable to do so. So I was always a kid that always knew what she wanted, but I learned to feel guilty about that.
So what did you learn from seeing in that scene, and how did it help you overcome the heaviness?
Yeah, my higher self said that all is good and it's time to let go. And, you know, Patti, I agree with your wisdom that the power is in this moment. And within 3 seconds, I can change my reality by changing my thought from a negative to a positive. But the severity of the hurt I have been feeling by a seemingly negative comment or rejection was something I had not been able to change. Instead, I would feel my entire body shift to a totally low vibration. My heart center would always close up. And I'm calling this a seemingly negative comment or behavior because I know I would interpret it that way. Later, it would usually turn out that it wasn't that at all, or I actually know now, even if it is, it's okay, and it does not have a distressing effect on me anymore. Now I have the ability to sit back and observe without a need to think over everything compulsively. I came across a book called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson after I saw you. I learned that I have to release a trapped old emotion to further move forward. And I learned once this trapped emotion has been released, it is gone for good. If this emotion has not been released, anything that brings out that particular emotion, it causes a stronger reaction. My healer and acupuncturist read in my matrix that I am holding the emotion abandonment by mother. She said that just by naming this emotion, I can start to release it without doing anything specific. I'm actually very excited to have found out about that and my ability to finally let go of it, just as my higher self had suggested. I also believe that the work that happened, we'll talk about this, in my heart area, has helped a lot to release this old emotion.
So you have done very well being productive, helping yourself and be healed, Iris. We are emotional beings, and this is how we learn, and this is how we grow. Our life experiences are our lessons, and people in our lives are our teachers. We co-create situations sometimes, and it is to help one another understand the power within us, and the power of the mind plays very important role in doing this. The thought that heart accepts becomes an emotion. And if it is a negative emotion, we feel hurt, we feel pain, and we store it in our memory. It is an emotional baggage that we keep stuffing more hurt and more pain into it. And many times, they are not new issues at all. They are the same issues that we never let go of. And it just weighs more and more, and we carry that bag everywhere with us. And it gets heavier and heavier as we drag it along into every relationship. And it doesn't matter what kind of relationship we are in. It could be family, with friends, or even in the workforce. And until we can't handle it anymore, the subconscious will find a way to get our attention, and it will be in the way that we will notice. It shows in the physical form. We'll start having physical pain, illnesses of some kind. It is according to our root causes from the emotion, and that's where the pain would project. And it from the place where we carry the most. When I had my life scary life issue with liver shutdown, it was the emotional baggage that my liver could not filter anymore. And for you, it is the pain in your hip, and that's mean not moving forward. So your pain caught your attention, and good thing that you try to find help. But as we know that most of the time the conventional medicine may not be able to help us, because it can only help us dealing with the pain and the illness, but not a permanent solution. And when we have to deal with prescriptions, oh my, they all have side effects. We will end up taking more drugs that would help deal with those side effects. I like to go into the senior living, and I like to go in to give love and give care to the elderly. And I notice how many medications each one of them must have when they have their meal. It is like 10 to 20 pills each time. And I'm glad that you did not go there, Iris. I encourage people to start searching from within and finding the permanent solution like you did. Most likely, the problem often started during childhood, and people tend to carry emotional baggage into adulthood. Would you agree, Iris?
Yes, I actually see that very clearly now. And I had no idea that I was holding on to something so old. And, I just wanted to say that I hold nothing against my mother, and that she is, in fact, I know that she is my teacher, and she has grown and changed, and we are best friends now. When she was young, I know I didn't get the attention and the assurance I needed. But then again, she served as a teacher, and I know this all makes sense in some way. But I'm very glad that I was able to let go, and I actually consider that one of my biggest achievements.
That's amazing. We're gonna come back to talk more about this achievement after the break. I'm your host, Patti and Taranat. You are listening to Get It Straight from the Source on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get It Straight from the Source. We are live on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I'm your host, Patti and Taranat. Before the break, we were talking about how you, Iris, able to let go of their emotional baggage, and you realized that that's probably one of your biggest achievements. That was very powerful when you're able to let go hurt and pain like that. Congratulations, Iris. So please tell us more. What else did you see? Yes. What else did you see?
Yeah, the next scene, in the next scene, so I stood next to the woman that I work for. She is also my friend, and she's the owner of a fashion company in New York. And I love working there because I'm at the pulse of art and creativity. And I thought the pain indicated that I needed to leave the job and the lifestyle that working for the company entails, which means constant back and forth from Washington, D.C. to New York City. And the days in New York are really long. I'm on my legs a lot. Plus, I commute in crowded trains before and after work. And I told myself, the pain is telling me to stop this and to find another calling. And Patti, when you asked what the scene meant, my higher self responded that I need to stop looking and that I am in the right place. I'm exactly where I need to be.
Yeah, that was an important revelation for you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Because to me, for a while, it seemed to be the only thing in my life that I was able to change. It didn't occur to me that it could be the start of an inner change, listening to my inner voice. And on the contrary, we are actually supposed to have a lot of fun in New York and spread the love, the high vibrations. And I think this also serves as a great balance because working in this type of environment, I feel like I need a balance, especially. And I also must say that the woman I work for, she's very detached from all of this material. Despite her working in the midst of all of this, so she is a great teacher to me as well.
Yeah, she's like a gift to you, and a beautiful gift that keeps on giving. I'm loving this. Yeah. So what else did you see?
In the next scene, I stood next to my husband, and that was a brief moment, but it just said that I felt his unconditional love. And when you asked me later, or you asked my higher self what the scene meant, it just said that we complement each other in this life and that he's basically my lucky star.
So wow, sounds like you get to see your future, and this is something that wonderful and meaningful for you to know that you and your husband are in the same team, and we did request the healing to the higher self after you get to learn from that story. Please tell us what happened to you during the healing process.
Yes, I have to tell one more thing, which was another thing that came up, something about definitely in the future, where I was standing on top of a mountain range, and I knew it was on the Himalayan mountains, and I felt complete and accomplished. and I just wanted to feel nature deeply and embark on it without any restraint, because I feel right now in my life I don't have enough of nature, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you asked what my higher self meant by this scene, and it said that there are a lot of adventures ahead of us, and also that there might be a mission to help children all over the world in need, and that was quite an amazing revelation to me.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Tell us more. I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, but about the relaxed state. So when I, got into this deeper relaxed state, this is when the most absolutely magical experience happened to me, and that's really what left a profound impact on my life. It seems actually too magical to be true, but it was real, and I was fully aware of it. Actually, I must say the answers my higher self gave when questions about the meaning of the images, I did not remember that. It was so interesting to hear what came out of my mouth when I listened to the recording that you had made for me. So, the experience this magical experience consisted of a gentle, yet at the same time, firm touch of my entire body. It moved from my chest, heart area, organs, abdomen, groin, and legs, and slowly, and it increased in strength. I had started to breathe more deeply. I had to, because the pressure on my chest asked for slower and deeper breath. And it felt like pulsating, vibrating energy moving up and down my entire body. It lingered for a long time in my heart area. My heart opened up and I felt, I barely have words for how I felt. I felt great. I felt loved, and I was filled with love. It was an exhilarating experience, yet at the same time, I felt calm. I felt how my lungs expanded. I was always a shallow breather, and I'm noticing now that I'm able to take very deep breaths, and I feel no constrictions, and this makes for much better sleep. I did not feel that much movement in my hip area. I felt some, and I had hoped for more, but my pain is gone. Even the stiffness is gone. Usually, after getting up, I would take a few steps to readjust my hip, and I don't have to do that anymore. Since my session, 2 months later, I am pain-free. Thank you, Patti.
You're most welcome, Iris. Very gratifying indeed to be hearing this. And I really appreciate you coming on to our show to share your magical experiences with our listeners, because I believe that this magical experience can happen to anyone who seeks. And the one who ready to open up to receive will definitely get to have it. You were ready to receive, and you made a decision to follow through, to experience this magic. You are now pain-free, without drugs and without surgery. How about that?
I know. How about that, Patti? Unbelievable. In hindsight, it seems to me that the healing of the heart had an enormous influence on the healing in other places in the body, including letting go of this old locked emotion. And having received such attention in my heart area has to be the reason for a lot of changes that are happening in my life right now.
I totally agree with you. I do a lot of sessions helping people identify the root causes of their life issues, and almost 100% of the time we find it in the heart, because every thought that heart accepts becomes an emotion that creates feeling. If the feelings created by emotional baggage, the heart feels pain, feels hurt, guilt, shame, anger, resentment, hatred, worrisome, sadness, jealousy, you name it. The heart feels it. And just my last 2 sessions alone that I recently had for my clients, I get to help them letting go of their baggage before we start the healing process. And, both of them came from a different background and different gender, but they had the same problem. Their hearts were heavy, filled with hurt and pain, and they held that heaviness for so long that it affected their health, to the point that their doctors couldn't help them anymore. We're going to have to come back to talk more about this. You're listening to Get It Straight from the Source on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. This is your host, Patti Tornut. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. This is your host, Patti Tornut. You're listening to Get It Straight from the Source on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Iris and I were talking about our experience before the break. So we were at, where were we? We were at how we talk about the quantum healing that help us understand our heart better. And I was explaining how the higher self told both of my clients to help them drop listening to the head and can come back to listen to the heart. So they gave them exact same guidance, not to listen to the heart but not the head, and let the heart lead with love, and love can heal everything. Change occurs magically when we pay such attention to our heart. I can relate to your story about how you were able to let go of that emotion and heal your heart. And yes, this is when the healing occurs, and this is why I do this work. I love helping people heal themselves. Were you able to maintain the healing afterward, though, Iris?
Yes, I did go through an episode of, basically, I've called it that I had to go through it the hard way before I listened to my heart and stopped using my head so much. So the first thing was that I had a glass of wine just very shortly after I saw you, and I had a lasting headache for the entire next day, which was highly unusual, but it was definitely a sign. Just stay away from it. And then 3 weeks later, I was prescribed an antibiotic. Against my better judgment, I took it to fight an infection that I've had. And I had a terrible allergic reaction to that. So I had to eat very healthy, and which was prescribed by my traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. And I could have taken countless conventional medicines, but at this point I said enough is enough, and I'm just going through with Chinese medicine. And then I even had, from this antibiotic that I took, I had this itchy skin all over my body, and I had water retention in my limbs. I gained like 10 pounds from that of water weight. I didn't look like myself. It was crazy. And but everything went away. I'm continuing on this pure diet, and I notice now I'm living sugar-free, alcohol-free, and I feel joyful and light. And my goal is to keep up this healthy lifestyle and to stop this self-sabotage. Basically, my higher self smacked me in a way that I couldn't overlook the signposts anymore.
Yeah, that is so wonderful. And Iris, you need to give yourself a hug often, and thank yourself for making a lot of good choices in life. Remember to always embrace your divine power and claim your truth. I'm also glad to hear that you have found your way, to release all of this and, letting go of the emotion and fear and keep your heart open. Very gratifying indeed. So what happened after that? What happened to prior to our session?
Well, prior, and I told you that I didn't meditate. I did automatic writing, and you said, well, that is a form of meditation. But I thought I wasn't the one that ever could sit patiently, just sit and meditate. I thought I wasn't cut out for that. But I've actually made it a daily habit since our meeting. And also because of this profound experience that I've had. Of course, I mean, that's what just changed everything. And I pay attention to, for example, my posture. There's always body awareness that I focus on. This is what's coming through in my meditations. Eat well, no sugar, no gluten, drink plenty of water. And then I do my automatic writings after I meditate. And recently it told me to cut out meat, and I will definitely stay away from this for a while. Yeah, so it is definitely all about living very healthy and very consciously.
That's so wonderful, Iris. And now you don't doubt anymore either, right?
That's right. I think that the daily meditations and the constant checking in on my thoughts are necessary to stay in that present and alert state, which keeps me connected and aligned. And the QHHT session, was so profound that it did take away the last bit of doubt, because, I was full of doubt. And I know now that there is so much more than we are able to perceive. And that was very much made clear to me during our session. And it is just amazing to know that I'm in this divine company and that I'm actually part of that. And so QHHT was able to remove my pain, and the healing I received during the body scan is real. It seems unreal and too good to be true, but it is true. And it's just such an amazing knowing that I have now inside of me, and I feel so much better for it. And Patti, I didn't immediately embrace the power of this wisdom, but you did lay it out there for me to realize it exists.
Yes, Iris, sometimes we need to experience duality just a little bit more before we have a real discernment. But once we get it, we can consciously choose because we are fully aware of what the best option really is.
Yes, definitely. I had to live through that right after our encounter, but now I think I know that I got it now.
This is wonderful. We will be back after another quick break to talk more about this. You are listening to Get It Straight from the Source with Patti and Tornat on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to our last segment on Get It Straight from the Source with Patti and Tornat. Before the break, Iris and I were talking about sometimes we need to experience a little bit more to learn and more aware. And Iris, you did get answer about your life purpose too, didn't you? What did your higher self tell you about your life purpose?
Yes, that was the craziest thing, really. When you asked my higher self what my purpose was, there was suddenly laughter emerging. And I was just, or I should say my higher self was just laughing and laughing and laughing. And then the words came out, just have fun. So, yeah, that's my purpose.
I remember that, just laughing and laughing and laughing. Who could forget that? Yet that's what a blessing. You've got it made. Your life purpose is just to have fun. How about that? It doesn't get better than that, does it?
Absolutely. It's so amazing. Yeah.
So, the universe makes things so simple. So when we focus on simplicity, life becomes much more fun.
Yes, exactly. And with this checking in on my thinking, and it just shuts it down. And I think that is the recipe for a simpler life. It's really thinking less and not get into this compulsive way of over-obsessing with anything. Just let it go. So that's my recipe, really.
It is very simple recipe, but it has such a powerful meaning, right?
Yes. Once I've read that living simply is the highest achievement, and I always, was so kind of envious about people who have reached this state. And, Patti, through your work, I finally arrived at a place where I always wanted to be, but I couldn't reach. So again, thank you for that gentle push to get me here.
You are very, very welcome, Iris. I never give up on the people. And I would like to let the people know, our wonderful listeners, that this reality too can be yours, to all of you. We just have to allow ourselves to reach within and claim our divine power. And QHHT is a powerful tool that can help everyone to find their authentic self. It is a technique that the Lord cannot spend decades to perfect it. I'm extremely blessed to be a part of this team, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that I get a chance to learn straight from the source and pay it forward to others. All is well, and as it should be. Iris, I thank you so much for being a guest on our show today. Your story has been very inspiring. Thank you for listening to Get It Straight from the Source. I love you all. For more information about me, please visit my website at hypnosisphenomenon.com. This is Patti Toranat. For now, namaste. So much love.
This has been Get It Straight from the Source with your host, Patti and Toranat. Join Patti each week and learn to listen to your inner guidance for real and positive change. Right here on Get It Straight from the Heart with Patti and Toranat.